Hey guys, it's Rachel from the Little Green Lamb, and today I have a book haul. I made 2 orders to Book Outlet, and let me just say, if you follow their Twitter, you might know what I'm talking about, because they say books that I really want on their Twitter, and they're like, it's back in stock, and then that made me order 2 orders. So if you don't follow their Twitter and you have a compulsion to buy a lot of books that are really good, then maybe save yourself, because I couldn't. Anyway, we have double the trouble. I made 2 orders because 2 specific books I've really wanted to read for a while came back in stock, so I decided to do that. The first being The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. So this book is book 1. I believe it's going to be a trilogy. Oh no, it says The Remnant Chronicles, so I don't know how many books that's going to be. But basically this book is about a girl. I think she flees on her wedding day and she has to decipher. There's like an assassin and a prince, and we had to decipher who that is, or like we don't know which one's which. I don't know if I explained that properly, but this is one I've wanted to read for a while, and this is the one that they announced, Book Outlet at least, announced on their Twitter that was back in stock, and I really wanted to read it, and it was a good deal, so I decided to splurge and pick it up. Then I have like screenshots on my phone that I look at when I'm on like Book Outlet or like any book website just to see if they've gone down in price or whatever, or if they're there. And I checked this book out on Chapters, and that's basically the bookstore chain. I was gonna buy it after my birthday, and then I checked Book Outlet and it wasn't there. And then when I was making this order, I checked again just, to see, and they had it, and I was so shocked, and I'm so excited to read this one. It's a Kim Jong-Il production, the extraordinary true story of a kidnapped filmmaker, his star actress, and a young dictator's rise to power, by Paul Fischer. And this story was actually this book was featured, or like a story, like basically this book was talked about in This American Life, the podcast, in an episode I believe that came out in May or April, and I really enjoyed the episode. It's my favorite so far, so I knew I had to pick up this book to read more about the story, and this is one I'm definitely picking up next month because I'm so excited. The third book I picked up was Austenland by Shannon Hale, and this book was actually turned into a movie. I hadn't heard of this movie at all, but my best friend had seen it a few times, and her and her mother both thought that I would really like this movie, so I went over to her house and watched the movie. I absolutely loved it. It's with Carrie Russell. I don't know if there's other versions of it, but just for reference sake. And I really enjoyed it, so I wanted to read the book. I've not read Pride and Prejudice yet, so I'm not sure if I'm going to read this before I read Pride and Prejudice. I don't think I'll spoil anything, though, really, because I kind of know what happens with Pride and Prejudice due to popular culture. But it's a very short read, and I'm very excited to eventually read this one. The last 2 books I picked up in this order specifically were continuation of a series I already own. So the first book is called The Withering Tights by Louise Renaissance, and that's the author of Angus Fong's and Full Frontal Snogging. And I had not read the 2 second books. I read the first book in like 2010 when it came out, but I hadn't got to the rest of the series. I believe this is a trilogy, I'm not 100% sure. But I picked up the second book, A Midsummer Tights Dream, and the third book, The Taming of the Tights. So I really want to get to this series soon this year, because these books you can just fly through, because this author's writing is just, it just makes you fly through the book. Now moving on to the second order. Basically these are the books. Where's the book? Okay, this one book is another one I saw on their Twitter that wasn't in stock for the longest time, but on the Canadian website you had to go to the store to get it. You couldn't order online for some reason. But it finally came back in stock, so I picked it up, and that is Finding Cinderella by Colleen Hoover. This is a novella that goes with the Hopeless duology, and I really like that duology. I actually just read it in July, and I really enjoyed it. So I really wanted to pick up this book, but I was waiting for it to come on Book Outlet, and basically this has to do with Holder's friend Daniel and his encounter with a girl who calls herself Cinderella. And it's just a short little novella, and I really love Colleen Hoover's work, so I'm very excited to delve into this one. The next book I got was Going Vintage by Lindsay Leavitt, and I heard of this one a long time ago when it came out. I really wanted to read it, but I kind of held off. And this book's basically about a girl who, her boyfriend cheats on her, so she decides to, and I guess in her upset state, decides to follow her grandmother's list of goals that she made in 1962. And basically she takes her life and goes vintage. So it sounds very interesting. Sounds like a cute, quirky contemporary. So I'm very excited to get to this one. And then I also picked up one that I really want to read. It's called While We Were Watching Downton Abbey by Wendy Wax. And I really love Downton Abbey. I just saw the 6th series trailer today, and that song in the background is just very sad because it is the final series. But I thought this book would be interesting. It's a contemporary about 3 girls and a guy who come together to watch Downton Abbey on Sunday evenings. And their lives, I think, parallel some Downton Abbey, maybe situations, or they just come together and the show kind of connects them. So I thought it was a cute concept, and I really just want to give it a try. The next book I picked up is one I'm really excited to read, and it's Proust's Overcoat by Lorenzo Foscini. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. I'm very sorry if I didn't. This is another very short one, and this is basically about a guy who has an obsession with all things Proust. and he finally acquires Proust's overcoat, and it's just him gushing over all things Proust. And Proust is such an icon that I'm very interested in knowing more about, because typically literary people, like, they're not seen, like, they're seen as icons, but at the same time, like, nowadays it's like an icon is like a celebrity kind of, like, or an activist. And even though these people are icons, it's kind of like you don't even really associate them. Like, when you think icon, you think like celebrity. You don't think author. So I think he's quite an icon, and I really want to know why more and more people are obsessed with his works. I really hope to read A Swan's Way this year, which is his first volume in The Search of Lost Time. I believe that's the series name. It's like 4,000 pages, like the whole series. So it's going to be quite an effort, but I really want to eventually get to it. So I'm very excited to read this. I read another book about Proust last year. I'm just looking at the title, How Proust Can Change Your Life by Alain de Botton. I read it, not last year. I reread it last year, but I read it for a class my first year university and absolutely adored it. So I'm very excited to get this. And the last two books I picked up were part of a series. It's the Somerset Abbey trilogy, and I got Somerset Abbey and A Bloom in Winter. And these books were like how they were described. I think how I would describe it is it's kind of like the Lukes by Anna Godberson meets Downton Abbey. So obviously I was like, yes, must read. And they have really pretty covers. But basically this is about 3 girls, and their lives are, like, 2 of them I believe are sisters, and one of them's like a cousin, and their lives all go crazy when they have to move to Somerset Abbey. Yes, and that is my book haul. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys have read any of these, definitely let me know. If you liked them, please don't put spoilers. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.